I'm depressed, and now all of you have to sit through my info dump about a game that never made its way to the US. Hi, my name is CyberJinxie, and I'm talking about a game called Yogurting, and no, it's not a game you play with one hand. Honestly, in a very inebriated state, I was watching a friend play DJ Max Respect, and he was playing Always by Shinji, which I will be going into more depth about later. As I was watching the music video in the back, I thought it was an early 2000s anime that might be about a 12-episode run, and it doesn't wrap up at the end. I saw words, but I'm horribly illiterate and couldn't tell what it was. My friend said it was Yogurting, and I looked into it. I don't know why, but when I first read it, I got it in my head that it was a collaboration between an MMORPG and a yogurt company, and they had made this music video. I really wanted to blame being intoxicated, but I have the brain of a chewed-up Skittle. At this point, you're all probably telling me, boo, get off the stage, brother, this guy stinks. And understandably so, I'm going to get off this little stage that I have made and now prop up the game. Yogurting is a South Korean MMORPG developed by Antaic Soft and published by Neowiz Games and Gung Ho Japan. Now, while I was doing some research, I had found out that this game was only released in Korea May 10th of 2005, Japan November 11th of 2005, and Thailand December 9th of 2006. The game revolves around you, a high schooler either enrolled in Estivia Academy or Soweol Academy, which acts as the two factions of the game. Now, depending on what academy you decide, will determine which assistant characters you have access to, and what uniforms you can and cannot wear. Interestingly enough, I did find a few articles where the name for Soweol Academy was referred to as Yutsuki Academy. I'm not certain as to why, but if I were to guess, it would be for localization purposes. The students of these academies find out that they are overrun by monsters, and all the teachers are missing. Even weirder, every other school has vanished, and this ends up being called the Endless Vacation. Which makes sense why we see the tagline Endless Dream in the Thai version of the game. Coinciding with the disappearance of every other school, both Estivia and Soweol have massive trees that opened a portal to another dimension. So now it's up to you and the student council to traverse this other dimension and figure out what has caused this endless vacation. Now that is just a brief synopsis of the game's story. As for combat, I can't find too much in depth about it, so I'm going to give you what I could find. There looks to be 4 weapon types: swords, fists, headphones, and backpacks, or if you want to get into game terms, blades, gloves, mora, and spirit. As much as I love raw dogging life, in order to fist things, you should probably wear gloves, which could be an issue if you've already locked yourself out by picking the wrong class. However, this doesn't seem to be an issue with the game. Rather than just being able to use one weapon, you can actually use all 4, but only specialize in 2 of them to keep the game balanced. Now I can hear all of you going, CyberJinxie, why haven't you talked about the characters yet? There must be a great cast that made you really like the game. Well, I mean, there's a cast. So, because the game was never released in the US, I actually don't get to know any of these characters or understand what roles they play within the game. However, I can say maybe a funny name and show a picture, and that's what I intend to do. To start, we have the one, the only, Anna from Yogurting. She is the character that you see in every advertisement. Blanca. Cart. China. Christine. Dorothy. Father Vermont. Hui Yang. Hyun Ran. Inject. Karen. Kurata. Mayen. Mocha. Nana. Ruben Shepard. Shin Soyun. Sojong. Jorgen von Strangle. Siorin. Yochimaru. And Yoen. Now, this is all very shorthand since I can't play the game due to servers being shut down in Korea and in Japan in 2010, and not even a full year later, the Thai servers would shut down in early 2011. Any gameplay that I can find, the videos can go as far back as 2007. Now, there was a mobile game released alongside the PC version in 2006 made by Greetech, but all I can find are a few screenshots and not much on how long it ran for. On top of that, later in 2014, a mobile game called Yogurting Pop, which was later released in the US in 2015 and removed shortly thereafter. This was a Candy Crush style game with yogurting characters, and for many, probably the only introduction to the game. And aside from that, most of what I can find involving yogurting are a handful of YouTube videos and a couple threads. One in particular did catch my eye. It was a Reddit post of someone talking about how they have all of the game files for yogurting and would be working on a 2.0 version for those who loved the game. But this was 3 years ago, and the OP's account is now deleted. Aside from that, not much else aside from a small mention in a video by Loading Ready Run.
Left a note in the writing document to make a reference to yogurting.
Yes.
But that's about it, and that was 2 years ago. Now, one thing I wanted to make sure that I delved into was the development company behind yogurting and the past all the way up to the present that it has, and it has quite a bit that it's gone through in those years. Before we had NTIX Soft, we had TAF Systems, founded by Jeong Jeong in 1992, and they were most famous for their series of fishing simulations called Nixiguan 1, 2, and Special. However, after a game called Cycle Force, lead programmer Lee Gi-jeong was interested in 3D simulations, and ended up programming a military simulator software that was used by the Korean Army. Eventually, the company was bought out by NeoWiz in 2003 and rebranded by NTIX Soft. They would then announce a playtest for a game called Luciard. Later in 2005, NTIX was sold to NVTech. However, the game development division had split from this company and become known as Red Duck in 2006, which, from what I can find, has gone through some financial hardships in 2018 and have led up to their closure. Now, this would be kind of important to the development of Luciard, since in just the span of a few years, the game had already seen quite a bit of issue due to the constant changes to the state of the development, leading to what we would now know as yogurting, almost 20 years later. To give some background, Shinji is part of a group called Kyori, which is a South Korean-based band. Kyori has 10 studio albums, 3 extended plays, and a ton of singles. They've also won 5 Bonsang, or major prizes, for their music at the Golden Disc Awards, which for those like me in the US, are the equivalent to the Grammys. As well, they have won the grand prize in the 2005 KBS Music Awards. The group has gone through many changes over the years since they started in 1998, and Shinji is the only remaining original member. Now, Shinji did actually re-record the song and had released it May 18th of 2021. Now, that's all the information I can find. If anyone else happens to know more, please leave a comment, because I want to learn as much as I can about this game. Thank you. Dumping out all of this information has made my brain make the happy juice. So I think I'm gonna go away now. Hi, I thought I was done, but I guess I'm not. Looking further in possible ways to play the game, I came across 2 channels that have recent posts of it. One is the Bank TV, showing gameplay from 3 years ago, the link that no longer works. However, there is one other channel that almost flew under my radar. This one is known as Dorothy-RB, and they have a post from 1 month ago showing map 111. The link actually takes me to a proper download page, but I have yet to try it since I'm a big baby and I fear everything. Still, Dorothy has a video on how to install Yogurting Remember, hence the RB in the name. I might have to try this since I'm pretty interested, and it looks like some character dialogue has actually been translated to English so I can have a better understanding of what's going on. Alright, now I'm done.